Hello! Welcome! It is another week of cooking with Katie and a cocktail. I feel like the weeks are, it's weird. I feel like the weeks are flying by, but I also feel like they creep by at a snail's pace when I'm actually at work. No offense, people that I work with. But every week I look forward to cooking with you and cocktailing with you. Cooking with Katie and a cocktail brought to you by Niece's Country Sausage and also Jolo Winery and Vineyards. Speaking of cocktail, we are enjoying a delicious glass of Golden Hallows from Jolo Winery and Vineyards. And production guy Ben, are you ready for your cocktail?
Yes, I believe so.
Here, I'll cheers you from this bad form. There you are. Okay.
Thank you, dear.
Cheers, everybody. Happy Thursday. Thank you for joining us for Cooking with Katie and a Cocktail. It's the best moment of the week, isn't it? So today, on our latest episode, we're going to be making salmon on papillote. I like to say on papillote. It's really just a super fancy, beautiful French word for in some parchment paper, in a package, in a parcel, if you will. And I've seen several methods for en papillote where you're basically taking today salmon. You could do it with any kind of fish that you'd like, or chicken, any kind of meat really. But today we're going to be using salmon, and you are creating a pouch that will steam. It's going to steam right here in this pouch that we'll make, and I'll show you the way you can do it. I've seen several ways that you can make your parchment pouch, but my favorite and the most romantic is when your pouch looks like a heart. And my husband Ben, production guy Ben, shaking his head like this is so ridiculous. But I think it's great. This would be a really fun date night dinner for your significant other. When you're cooking with parchment paper on papillote, it's really healthy, if you will, because you're steaming. So you can control all the ingredients, and because you're steaming, it's creating a lot of flavor in this pouch. And I think perhaps the best part about this method on papillote is that cleanup, honest to God, is the easiest thing you will ever do. You eat out of the pouch. You can eat out of the pouch. You ball it up and you can throw it in the trash. I am going to be making some little tiny baby new potatoes that I've parboiled already. So there's going to be a sheet pan that I'm going to have to clean at some point. But so this is it. So yeah, we're doing a salmon on papillote in the parchment, along with a lemon and herb compound butter. And don't let that freak you out, compound butter. This one's super easy, and we're using butter that is very room temperature. We're choosing to use salted butter, but you could use unsalted. I probably, if my mother is watching, should be using unsalted because got some blood pressure issues. So I should be watching the amount of salt that I intake. But in this case, salt is flavor. So we're going to be using some salted butter. We also have some fresh herbs, some from our garden, some from the grocery store, and then some dried, just a mixture. And so we're also going to put some asparagus along with some baby new potatoes. So very easy. It's hot. And I feel like a lot of people don't feel like cooking big, elaborate meals. So this feels like a really elaborate, it is a beautiful meal, very easy, but it looks very fancy, but it's simple.
And if we were smart, we'd do this out on the grill. So if you didn't do in the parchment paper, maybe something of doing in foil packs, something in that simple,
for sure,
like a easy cleanup, no dishes, like minimal dishes.
And you can put any kind of vegetable you want in this parchment. But you could do squash, you could do zucchini, or I guess that is the squash. I was thinking zoodles. Really anything inside this pouch, and it's just gonna steam. So anything that would do well steaming will be fantastic in the pouch. Let's get started. I do wanna make the compound butter first. You can take the compound butter if you're making this ahead of time which would make, preparation of all of this super easy and super quick. You could make the compound butter ahead of time and then mold it into like a round log, a butter log, and put it in the fridge so that you have the compound butter whenever you need it. Compound butters are awesome because, again, you can use anything. Leftover vegetables, leftover herbs. You could use some, like if you have, let's say sausage drippings or something, you could use some of that into the butter as well. It's really, you're just flavoring this butter that's just quick, grab and go. So I am gonna start with that. By the way, you heard the oven. The oven is being preheated to 375. Ben and I went back and forth about, should we do the oven at 350? Do you think we should be doing the oven at 400? We just split the difference and said 375. Salmon does have to go to 125, so as long as you have that in mind, you're good to go. About 15-20 minutes in the oven. So here's the beginning of the compound butter. And as always, my husband Ben is reading your comments. He's manning the camera. He's gonna answer any questions or concerns or comments you might. I hope you don't have any concerns. If you do, please feel free to put them in the comment section. But we're cooking together, so I want you to please post anything you might be thinking of or questions you might have in the comments.
Suggestions, anything
like
that.
And you guys, while we're getting started and I'm putting this all together, if you have any recipe suggestions for the next couple of episodes of Cooking with Katie and a Cocktail, please let me know. I want to be making things, I'm sharing with you recipes that we make here in our house, but suggestions for things that you'd like to see, always welcome. We're gonna start on this compound butter with 4 tablespoons of butter. And again, this is room temperature, so it's very easy to work with. Spreadable. I'm gonna use
very, very, very soft.
This is very, very soft, but that's exactly what we want. So we're gonna start with 4 tablespoons, just a half a stick of the butter. Again, we are using salted. Put that in our bowl. So you all can see this too. All right. Now to our butter, and I'm gonna use just a spatula to mix it all together. Whip it, if you, just whip it. Whip it good. Gonna whip the butter in here. We are going to put 2 very full teaspoons of chopped dill. This one did not come from our garden. And as a matter of fact, when we first started Cooking with Katie and a Cocktail, we were in the very, very beginning of coronavirus, where we were not out shopping in the grocery stores. We were using things that we already had from our pantry, that we already had in our freezers and our refrigerators. And so we're just using up ingredients, and that's where a lot of our ideas came from. And this dill is reminiscent, it's fresh, but this dill has been, we've had so much of it that I've been racking my brain, trying to think of things that we can use or make to use up all of the dill that I had. So this
it was definitely the last bit that we could cut off of the off the dill that we had before.
It definitely was. So that's, how some of these recipes come to be. Like, what do I have? What do I need to use up? And dill has been on our radar for a while now. So this is it. This is this is the end of the dill. So 2 teaspoons of dill. I'm also going to put in here a full teaspoon of chopped parsley, and the chopped parsley is from our garden.
We need to plant more parsley.
We do, and I want to plant some cilantro. I just asked Ben if he thought it was too late to plant cucumbers, because I thought it would be a really fun idea for some Christmas presents to pickle, again with the dill. I was like, what can we do with all this dill? Pickle some of our own cucumbers to make homemade pickles and give those, do some canning and give those away as Christmas presents. Turns out it's not too late to be planting cucumbers. You can go all the way through mid-July, but it will pretty much strangle out everything you have in your garden. So
well, that's what we found with our squash before it took over everything.
Took over everything. Growing up in Pennsylvania, we were in the middle of Amish country until I was 13 years old, and we had a humongous garden. And it's funny if you know my parents, because my mom, I could see my mom doing the garden, but my dad, I can't. It was definitely a project for my mom and for the three of us. We had everything. We had watermelon, corn, every vegetable that you can imagine. We even grew grapes, which I think is really what cultivated my love of wine at a very young age. So to our compound butter, we have 4 tablespoons of butter. We have the dill, we have the parsley. I did not have any fresh chives today, so I'm just using a teaspoon of dried chives. Had them in the pantry, so we're just gonna use those. And in here, we're gonna use a 1/4 teaspoon of salt, I think. Put that in there.
You got glass jars now, or glass bowls?
Yeah, so we went to one of our favorite stores around here that is going out of business, Servotown. I think that we've mentioned that before on our show. And they had these really great prep bowls, so we purchased those, and it was a great purchase. I'm very glad we did. That way you can see what we're doing in here.
Den Burdick,
Yeah.
asking, did your 3 sisters garden? So, yes.
So I think Colleen, if her husband would be the one, I think that would probably be doing the gardening. Dave, he loves to cook, and Colleen is very happy to let Dave do all the cooking, and because he's really good at it. So they might have grown a few things, I think, in their garden.
Did y'all work a garden growing up?
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yes, we were out there gardening all the time, and we used to set up our roadside stand, you know, in the middle of nowhere and prayed. I think my mom called all of our neighbors and said, hey, the girls are out selling the basil, and they're selling the squash and the corn or whatever it is we were growing at the time. So our neighbors would come by, and same with our lemonade stands. Because we lived in the middle of nowhere, you had to bribe the neighbors to come and participate. But yeah, we would grow everything, and we ate from the garden. So it's something that I really want to do with the kids. Seems like they're kind of into it, and then kind of not sometimes. But maybe as they get a little bit older, at least they have the foundation. To our compound butter, we are going to put 2 cloves of garlic. And again, my trusty tools. I could mince it all by hand, but not gonna. I'm gonna put it into my garlic press. Did just smash it to get it out of its what?
Sorry, I was saying the wrong thing. Didn't correct it. It was 3 sisters is corn, squash, and beans grown together. Oh. Huh.
Well, the 3 sisters also include the O'Brien girls, Katie, Colleen,
no wonder
and
I said
Molly.
they're off.
Which is how we're referred to as the 3 girls. So
if anybody just heard that thumping sound, maybe out of the side there, that was Maisie scratching her ear, which is what woke Katie up in the middle of the night.
Yes, thought it was somebody banging on our door. Turns out it was just Maisie scratching herself on the leather couch, making a lot of noise, waking me up at 2 a.m., and I could not go back to sleep. So, it's a lot of chit-chat. I'm sorry, but this is Cooking with Katie, and this is what I like to do, so that's how it goes. All right, so 2 cloves of garlic in the garlic press. Really gotta be working out. Put the fresh garlic.
There was a suggestion for recipes.
Yeah.
From Anne. It was summer salads that don't require heating up things in the kitchen.
Yes. Oh, that's such a good suggestion. Thank you very much, because
I'd second that.
Yes, it is so hot. The last thing you want to be doing is you don't want to turn on your oven right now. I get it. I really do. So great suggestion. Thank you. To our compound butter, we are going to add the zest, about a teaspoon or so of lemon zest, fresh lemon zest, and then we're going to be using these lemons, lemon slices on top of the salmon as well. So, and then if I have any left over, I can save it for some juice for something else. Now, when you are zesting, and this is our microplane, as you can see, the lemon zest right in here. This is a very fine grater. You want to make sure that when you're doing the zest that you're only getting the dark yellow parts from the outside. When you get down to, let me see, I'll do it in just a second. When you get down to the white, the pith, it gets very bitter. but the outside of the lemon is sweet and very fresh tasting. So make sure that you just kind of move around the lemon and get the dark yellow parts. Ideally, when we're finished with this, a teaspoon worth, we're just gonna have a white lemon in front of us, but great for still using and the juice and putting on top of our salmon. I am going to really concentrate here because I don't want to grate my fingers off. That would ruin my day. So we're just gonna do about a teaspoon worth of lemon zest. Here, make sure we get it all out of the microplane. These are great tools. I love to feature different tools on Cooking with Katie too, because we are gadget people and we love it when we can use these gadgets live on Cooking with Katie and a Cocktail. All right, so our compound butter is ready and we're just gonna mix all of this deliciousness together. Again, if you were making this a couple hours ahead or even a day or two ahead of time, you can take this butter, wrap it up into some plastic wrap, and form a log. You can put it in the refrigerator to keep as you need it. You can also freeze it. It keeps for a very, very, very long time. And it's great because it's just flavored butter, a compound, separate entities all coming together into one thing. Adds a lot of flavor. And if, you know, you're controlling the amount that you're using in this butter, so controlling the amount of calories and the amount of fat. Yes, it's butter, but you are adding the fresh herbs and that adds flavor. Okay, so our compound butter is together. Whatever I don't use on the salmon, I'm not going to use a full 4 tablespoons of butter on top of the salmon, but I am going to add the rest to our potatoes. You'll see how that all works together. All right, so this is all incorporated. We're just going to put this to the side. And again, please feel free to share your comments or any suggestions you have in the comment section. All right, put this to the side. Now we can get started on Papillote, the very fancy, very beautiful word for in parchment paper. All right, so I'll start with one, and this recipe is going to go into the oven. The salmon and the potatoes gonna go into the oven, so you're not gonna see the finished product, but please be sure to check back into the comment section because I will post a photo of what it looks like when it comes out and when we slice open these beautiful packages. All right, so in our heart-shaped parchment paper, let's move all of this out of the way so you can see. I'm going to put...
That's a huge heart.
It is a huge heart. Well, I'm making a huge package. It's a huge heart from a girl who has a huge heart. That was a dad joke. All right, I'm gonna put this here just right now to hold it down to anchor it. And now on in the larger section of this heart, again, you don't have to make this into a heart section, or into a heart shape. Thought it was cute, I'm just gonna roll with it. You could just very easily tear off a piece of parchment paper and then wrap it up however it seals shut. I like the heart because I thought it was romantic. So we are going to put just a little bit of olive oil. I'm going to grab my wine. You could also add that if you wanted. Just a tiny little bit of some olive oil down in the bottom of the parchment paper. We have some asparagus. It's all right there. I'm going to take about 5 asparagus. They've been washed, they've been dried, they've been broken right at the point. You can always tell when the asparagus, the long, raw, very fibrous end of the asparagus, you just break it at that natural point. So I have 5. I'm going to place these down at the bottom. And the point of putting the asparagus or whatever it is you're putting down at the very bottom is to kind of create a little lift for when we place the salmon on top. And it just creates just like a little shelf in there, if you will. All right, and so we have 5 pieces of asparagus down here. And I'm gonna put some onion at the bottom. If for nothing else, aromatics. Smells delicious, adds some flavor. Again, lifting this salmon up. Put that in there. And then we're going to take a piece of our salmon. Now, these are 6-ounce portions. You can ask to have either buy them this way or buy it in a large fillet and slice it up into individual portions yourself. I just happen to have 2 6-ounce portions made for me. So we're gonna put the salmon right on top. I'm gonna need to remember to get rid of this into the wash when we're all finished. And then we are gonna take some of the lemon again. So we're really using everything. Some lemon slices. All right, and before we do that, this is where the compound butter comes in. I would say just enough to cover. I'm gonna use my fingers, I think, so I don't get this all salmon-y. Does that make sense? All right, just spread it over. And when this all melts, it's gonna create a bit of a sauce, which is why compound butters are so wonderful, because it melts down in there, it's gonna steam.
All the flavors in there.
So easy and quick to put together, you guys, and it smells delicious and it's flavorful. All right, and then we will take a couple slices of lemon on top. And I'm only gonna put together one. I'll do the other one right before I pop it into the 375-degree oven. And then I do have some leftover dill, the very last of it, that I will just place right on top.
Looks very pretty.
Thanks. Ben, listen, I'm gonna do something that's kind of weird for Facebook Live, but I'm gonna need your phone, please. Or maybe could you come over, since my hands have some salmon on them, and take a picture, and you'll get to see Ben for the very first time. I think you haven't been on any of the Facebook Live videos yet, have you? Hi. Take a picture, will you? God, that's so pretty. That's so pretty. Come over here on this side. Yeah, sure. Some behind the scenes things. That's beautiful. This is sure to wow anybody. If you're having a dinner party, if you're just doing something romantic for your significant other, this is absolutely gorgeous. I wanted to make sure that we got that picture because I realized I didn't do any of those photos before.
Oh, yeah. May I take one more?
My hand.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Okay, sorry, everyone.
Yes. You can come over here. It's okay. You understand, right? We gotta get the right, you have to, everyone who's been on Instagram knows you gotta get the right picture.
I have no idea.
Do you want to take it from down here?
No.
Okay, when I don't have a pretty picture later, this is why. Didn't plan ahead. All right, so, on Papillote is in here, it's ready. This is just one of 2 little packages that I'm gonna be making. Now, this is the important, oh, you can put a little bit of black pepper, why not, right? My salmon hands. All right, so this is how you're gonna seal your package. And bring this side over, and you're going to fold the whole entire paper into itself all the way around. We're going to seal, and you can also use a straight spatula to really seal that tight because you don't want any of the steam to escape. I've seen on Papillote used for a way of sealing with egg wash around the edges if you wanted to. For me, I just really want to make sure that I get these seals as tight as possible, and I think that using the straight edge of a knife works pretty well. But certainly could use egg wash to really make sure that you seal it in, because once the steam escapes from it, that's it, you're done. That's the whole point of these beautiful pouches. Seal it in on itself. You don't want to use wax paper here.
No.
Wax paper
It has wax.
Yep. I've learned that parchment paper has silicone, I believe, and so that melts at a very, 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 very high heat. So that's why it's okay to be using the parchment paper here. And then when you
Confirm
get
that
to
with your father.
do what?
We have to confirm that with your father.
It's true. He worked for Reynolds Aluminum for forever and ever and ever and ever and ever. And so in our house, you're not allowed to say tin foil. You better be saying aluminum foil. And he'll correct anybody who says tin foil that is in any conversation. So aluminum foil.
Pouch right here at the other side. Is it coming loose?
Yes.
Oh. I'm just saying. You don't want the steam?
I don't, you're right. Okay. Maybe the egg wash is a really good idea.
Or a stapler.
Or a stapler. You could totally use a stapler if you wanted. You're not eating the staple. Look, I'm just taking it and wrapping it. There you go. All the way around. Ben learns how to braid, and all of a sudden, thinks he's a master on Papillote. So when you get to the very end of the heart tail, that's where you can just seal it off. It keeps all the juices in. And then you have this beautiful little package that really is going to be full of steam. It will rise, and then when you're all finished, you just slice it open, and you can eat from this beautiful pouch. So this is one. Now, before I get to the second pouch, I'm going to show you what I'm going to do with these potatoes. Save a little bit of this compound butter for on top of the salmon, and the rest of this compound butter is going to go onto these potatoes. So one pouch right here, the other pouch will go right there. I'm going to take the rest of the compound butter, put it into the potatoes and mix it. I did parboil these potatoes because sometimes when you're cooking them in the oven, they don't get tender all the way. The last thing you want is this beautiful piece of salmon and rock hard raw potatoes completing your dish. So I'm just going to mix these, and this will be the messiest part of the entire cleanup and the entire dish. Now again, this is going to roast in the oven 375 for about 15 to 20 minutes. Keep an eye. You can check the salmon. When the salmon, it will definitely smell it. It's all steamed up and beautiful. 15, 20 minutes or so. When the salmon gets to 125 degrees. I'm going to leave room for my other pouch here. And these potatoes will get nice and roasted and crispy because of this butter that's on there.
And if you worry about them not cooking all the way through, you can cut them in half.
Sure.
Help them cook a little bit faster.
Yeah, I parboiled them for about 10 minutes, not even 8 minutes in some boiling water, and just to ensure that they cooked all the way. So this was it, you guys. This is our salmon on Papillote, our salmon in parchment paper. I'm going to do the second little pouch here. Hopefully the next time I do it, it will stay sealed. And get it on there and get it into the oven. Be sure to check back. Oh, and the recipe will be posted at cookingwithkatieandacocktail.com. I will make sure to get the recipe up there, complete with that picture we took live here on Cooking with Katie on the Facebook Live video. So be sure to check out the website. And Niece's Country Sausage is providing a gift pack, a big gift pack for one of you who have left a comment in the comment section. So Ben, I think you have everybody's name in there. Please, to comment. Trust me, he's writing down everybody's name throughout the whole live video who's on, joining live and commenting. Let's see who we got today. Kimberly Lewis. Kimberly Lewis, congratulations. You just got a Niece's Country Sausage prize pack. So we'll be in touch to let you know how you can get that. I want to thank you all for joining us for Cooking with Katie and a Cocktail. Hope you all enjoyed. We'll see you next week.